it up for Mr. Locario.
Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So I had one of my subscribers hit me up, and he was asking me, he's like, how did you go about writing your book, How to Have Sex with 2 Women a Day? What was your motivation? Why'd you do it? So I was like, I'll make a little video about it. You feel me? So this book right here, How to Have Sex with 2 Women a Day, right? I basically came out with this because I was thinking, what do I need to do to make some money and at the same time help some people, right? So before I wrote this book, I wrote my other book, The Magnificent 10 Crucial Dating Tips for Men, which I put out for free, and it was like a really small, short book. And then I was like, all right, I gotta put out something else. And then I was asking, some of my friends, some people I knew, and I was asking people on my mailing list, like, what do guys want to talk, want to hear, want to learn how to do? So, they was like, people, I kept hearing, y'all want to know how to have sex with more women and have a lot of girls and have a lot of chicks and have more sex with chicks and everything like that. So I was like, damn, okay. I was thinking about shit in my life that I've done, right? And I was like, there was a time when I was in my super player stage where I was banging mad chicks. I mean, it was to the point where I had like maybe between 7 and 10 chicks in rotation at any certain time or whatever. And I was going out there doing these things, and I was like, okay, well, I can teach that to other guys, right? Now, when I first wrote this book, I can't even remember what year I started it, but when I wrote it, it took me, basically the whole thing took me 3 years to finish, right? And look at this. This book is not that big, you know what I mean? But 3 years to finish this, right? And the reason why it took so long was because I would write stuff and then I kept crumbling it up and rewriting it because I was like, okay, I need to make it more simple, easy to understand. I would reread it. I would, and it was just like, I don't really know if some people are going to understand this. So I had to like break it down. And then I finally got it to a place where I wanted it. And so what happened was I'm reading through the stuff that I'm writing. And what happened is that I actually was scared to come out with this shit. And the reason why I was scared to come out with this was for 2 reasons. One, I was scared of what, people were going to think when I when I put out a book called How to Have Sex with 2 Women a Day. You understand? I was scared that, people are going to, be like, oh my God, it's crazy. And, and I was also scared of like, how it will be received, by other people, even them believing this can happen. You understand? So that was the second reason. I didn't think that people would believe that they can have sex with 2 women a day. So I was like, are guys gonna believe that they can have sex with 2 women a day? Are they gonna think I'm fucking crazy? Are they gonna look at this and think this is a joke? That's what I thought when I was writing this shit, right? But the thing is that myself, I've done that, plenty of times, where I would be with one chick and I'd be having sex with her, and then like, later that night I'll call up another girl and fuck with her. You know what I mean? Like, so I've done that, plenty of times. And, to a person who's been doing that, it doesn't seem far-fetched. But for other guys, they might be like, come on, son, are you crazy? But what happened was I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna put it out. Hopefully dudes will think they can do it. And, and whoever criticizes it, it's going to be what it's going to be. You understand? And the cool thing about it is when I put it out, people were gravitating to it. They were buying it. They were hitting me up. They were saying, yo, this shit's been working for me and all. I was like, yes. Because my thing was, I'm going to be real with y'all. I was nervous that, people were going to buy the shit. And they were going to be like, oh, I'm scared to do this, or I can't do that, or I don't know if I can make this happen. And this is why I try to make it really simple so you could just sort of follow it. Just read it, practice it, follow the steps in it, and then make that work for you. So when it started working, I was like, good. And, because I knew it could work if you freaking, follow it, but I was kind of like nervous that there would be guys who are not going to follow it. But what I learned also is that there's going to be people, no matter what you do, who are just not going to, gravitate to it or follow it anyway. They'll get it, but they won't read it. They'll get it, they'll read it, but they won't apply it to their life. So, this book works. I'm going to tell you the truth. It only works if you read it and you practice it and you apply it. If you just buy it and read it, it's not going to work for you. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to apply the shit. And so when I came out with it, I was like, surprised that people were actually buying it, because you got to understand, when I wrote this, I was living at my mom's house, sharing a room with my brother, and I had like freaking, $80 in my bank account and shit. You understand? So I was just like, I hope somebody buys this shit. I hope at least 5 people buy this book. And, to my surprise, I've sold, hundreds of these already. And it's weird because, I was like, man, like I had no idea. You understand? So I was glad that even one person bought this shit, right? So, with doing that, and we're writing a book, and also, the dude, he hit me up and he was asking me, is writing a book hard? Man, this writing this shit was like the hardest shit in my life to do. You understand? This is the hardest thing that I've ever had to do, was write this book. You understand? The one that I wrote before, The Magnificent 10 Coochie Dating Tips for Men, it was a little difficult because it was like, my first time writing anything like that, but it was a shorter book. This one was a little bit longer. So it was more difficult. So real quick, I'm gonna tell you what the chapters are for those who don't have the book. In the first chapter, I called it Becoming the Man / Being the Man, and this is where I talk about, the type of mindset that you have to get with all these chicks and make this shit happen. Chapter 2, I talk about, is called Develop Your Own Personal Style. So that's really talking about the way you dress, the way you feel, and what you're wearing, how that relates to, how you feel about yourself, and how that relates to you, putting out that energy towards women. And then chapter 3, this is the one that took me a really long time to write. Chapter 3, I kept writing this over and over again, and it's called How to Approach Women in Any Situation. So this is the chapter where I really break down how to go from, talking to a woman to getting her number to making things happen. So I really wanted to break that down for guys who, for guys who don't really have that type of experience. And this is what I kind of wanted to do with this book, is where I wanted it to be something that it can be for guys who's never talked to a girl before, and it could be for guys who, who have some sort of skill of talking but want to brush up on it and stuff like that, right? Chapter 4 is how to use rejection to your advantage. So a lot of times guys are scared to get rejected. So I'm like, okay, how can we use this to our advantage to make shit better for us, right? Chapter 5, and this is the one where I was like, shit, should I put this in here? But chapter 5 is how to have sex with your coworker. And, normally I don't really advise this, but what I did in the book is I wrote a way how to do it so that you don't get fired from your job, you don't, fuck shit up. But generally I tell guys, use this part with caution. You understand? With caution. Because I don't want you coming here blaming me because you got fired from your job trying to holler at some chick. So, I teach you how to do it in this book so that you can avoid that type of stuff. You feel me? Chapter 6 is how to make online dating work for you. So, a lot of people are doing the online thing, and I give you some, tips and techniques on how to make that work. And the last chapter is how to have sex with 2 women a day. So I break down how to actually do that. And, I put that chapter last because everything that I've wrote in the book up until that point is the things you need to know before you even read that book. And the funny part is, on the last chapter of how to have sex with 2 women a day, I even write in the chapter, I said, yo, if you're anything like me, you probably skipped to the last chapter to see how to have sex with 2 women a day. But none of this is going to make sense to you, or most of this won't make sense to you unless you read the whole thing. So you got to read the whole thing to make sure it makes sense to you. You feel me? So guys, if you want to copy this book, this is the hard copy. I'm running out of these. So what you need to do is get the ebook version, and you can get the ebook version right now by clicking the link below, or go straight to mrlucario.com and click on the store page so you can get the ebook. And what's cool about getting the ebook is the ebook comes with 2 free bonus audio programs, and one is called the Conversation Booster, and one is called the Confidence Booster. And both of those programs, it gives you even more in-depth things that you can learn when it comes to, hitting up chicks and making, things happen. You feel me? So that's all I want to say. So yeah, man, guys, send me your questions at askmrlocario@gmail.com. Click the link below to get your copy of How to Have Sex with 2 Women a Day. And I will holler at y'all later. Remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm gone. Hey, what's up? It's dating and life coach Mr. Locario. Go to badboymembership.com and master the dating game by joining my Bad Boy Membership program. In this program, you'll receive 45 through 90-minute, easy-to-follow, step-by-step dating advice tutorials that's guaranteed to help you attract, date, and have sex with beautiful women. Join the Bad Boy Membership today by going to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.